Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Your boy Indigo Diamond here again with another video. Boy time again this time. Just got stuff to do today, but I wanted to make sure I got this video out because otherwise another week would pass, another episode would happen, and the video wouldn't have been done. So things. So obviously here to talk about the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 6. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment down below. Who are you rooting for? Because there are so many queens at this point. I mean, there's still like, even after this week's episode, there's what, 8 queens left? So let's get into this. So this week's main challenge was the pink table talk. So the queens got separated into, well, they separated themselves into 3 groups. They had to pick a topic and discuss that topic. So the best group out of the week was the group talking about sex, which was Eureka, Akeria, and Trinity K Bonnet. Now, they didn't win the challenge, but RuPaul said they were the best group. So this very much reminded me of All Stars 5 when they did the hotel challenge, where RuPaul declared that Blair and Mayhem were his favourite, but they didn't win the challenge. So yeah, I mean, they definitely were the best group overall, in my opinion. Eureka was the moderator, very much reminiscent of season 10 where they did the DragCon panels. She was great in that. She was again great in this. I mean, this is essentially, for me anyway, sort of Eureka's element. Eureka's great at talking, and it showed. You know, she was very much comfortable with who she was, the subject she was talking about. You know, she went into the fact of sex being a larger woman, which I can relate to. I mean, I'm nowhere near as large as Eureka, probably either way. Like, she is taller than me, I know that much, and I think she probably is bigger than me. I don't remember how much. I'm trying to lose weight. Trinity K Bonnet was very, I don't want to say frank, but she was very open about, I mean, she has been in the past anyway, about her being HIV positive, and the fact that she's undetectable, which means she can't transmit the disease, because there's a lot of stigma around that. So it was great to have her give that insight into it even. She also looked great. I mean, they all pretty much looked quite good for the panel itself, but she looked really good. She looked like, you know, this was her day job. She also went into, the group kind of went into a bit about whether each of the queens have sort of like had sex in drag or out of drag, and Trinity was saying very much like for her, Trinity, the character, is a virgin. So she won't have sex in drag, she'll have sex out of drag. So like her boy self's like the manager and Trinity's the talent. Although she did say, obviously, if at some point, maybe, you know, she got into a relationship at that point, you know, at that point, potentially, but, you know, which is fair. I mean, I have not had sex in drag. Would I? If a guy offered, I thought he was handsome enough, probably yes. But that's not something that's cropped up, so don't have to worry about that yet. Akeria, again, went very, I mean, there was a lot of personal stuff with this episode, which, again, I liked. And again, there's a lot of things they try and do on Drag Race anyway. They tried to bring more of the personal stuff in, so it's like, oh, you know, we get to know you more. Akeria mentioned the fact that she did at one point sort of start transitioning and becoming a trans woman, known as Kiki, I believe. And she then retransitioned because she was like, no, you know, I am a guy. But she was saying about how she obviously had some work done, which is where she got like the bum from and stuff like that. But, you know, I think it is difficult, you know, especially if you do drag, you know, to kind of think, you know, is this me being trans or is this just something I do? And it was nice for her to kind of like bring that out into the conversation a bit. My throat's apparently really dry and I don't know why, because I've been drinking all morning. But that was nice to see. Again, I think they definitely did the best overall. The top all-star of the week was Ginger, and she was on the team doing body. So she was on the team doing body with Jan and Pandora. Now, Pandora placed kind of low this week, which, again, I kind of agree with. I definitely don't think she was the worst, but I do think, she didn't do as well as she could have. She went on about the fact that she used to be sort of like a twink, and now she's kind of like older sort of thing. But she didn't, as they mentioned in the judging panel, she didn't so much go into how she felt about that. It was more a case of like she used to be a Goldie Hawn and now she's an oldie Hawn. Kind of like made a few jokes about it, but didn't really kind of go in on how she felt about that, which was a shame because I will say I love all these queens anyway. But like someone like Pandora, I really love Pandora, and part of that is the fact that she's a queen from an older season, and she's, again, one of those queens where I feel like doesn't get as much love as she deserves, which, to be fair, I feel like probably most queens, especially queens of colour, people like Silky, who tends to get more hate than she gets love, that isn't warranted at all. But yeah, so Pandora placed low. Jan ended up in the bottom, and again, it was I feel really bad for Jan because, again, they told her that she was sort of going at 110 all the time. She needs to be able to let people breathe and stuff like that. And I felt for her because she was literally like crying in confessional, saying about how, she is a cheerleader. This is what she does, sort of thing. And yeah, I get that. And it's hard if that's what you're like. If you are such an excitable person, what are you supposed to do? If that's what you're like. But, clearly it's not something that the judges want. And, yeah, I think she could have toned it back a bit. But, what are you going to do? She still had some good moments. She went on about the fact that obviously during quarantine and that, when she wasn't really doing much, she gained a bit of weight. And, apparently a lot of her fans were like commenting on it and things like that, and it's just kind of like, just let her be. So what? She's gained a bit of weight. Most people did during quarantine. That was the big thing. But yeah, I felt bad for her. But all she can do is move forward and hopefully get to a place that the judges like what she's doing. I don't know. The other team. I haven't even really spoken about Ginger. Jesus Christ. She's... we'll go on to the other team and then we'll talk about Ginger because she was the top all-star of the week. So, the other team that we're talking about motherhood were Kylie, Sonique Love, Raja O'Hara, and Scarlett Envy. Now, unfortunately, Scarlett was the one that was eliminated this week. So, with the panel itself for these three, Kylie decided she was going to be the moderator, and before they got to the challenge, after Kylie had decided she wanted to be the moderator and she had taken on that role, Scarlett did kind of turn around and be like, I am a bit worried about you because you are a bit quiet and a bit more reserved and stuff like that. And it's like, you've already chosen the roles. Did you not think to bring this up earlier? On the panel itself, now, in the critiques, RuPaul said that Scarlett Envy's performance in the challenge made her feel uncomfortable. Now, watching it, I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. I was weirded out at times, and I'll tell you why. So, they mentioned about the fact that she would be like have these moments where she'd be like really real, talking about the fact that she's got two mothers and things like that, and then she would kind of like switch to like a stage persona and be kind of like a bit like, oh yeah, this sort of thing. And that's what RuPaul said made her feel uncomfortable. Didn't make me feel uncomfortable at all. I feel like that's almost a bit too harsh of a way to put it. I'm not sure if harsh is the word I'm thinking of, but for me, it was just a bit odd because it'd be like, she'd be acting, really really real and kind of like this thing, and then she switched to sort of the stage thing. And it's kind of like, oh, that's a bit weird. But it didn't make me feel uncomfortable. Now, for me, if I felt uncomfortable with it, I would have found it like really difficult to watch and be like, oh, I don't like what she's talking about, sort of thing. But for me, it was just a bit odd, not uncomfortable. I feel like uncomfortable is maybe a bit of an over-exaggeration of how it would make you feel. But, you know, I enjoyed Scarlett's performance, apart from obviously the oddness of kind of switching up and stuff like that. But, I mean, it wasn't terrible. Raja had they all had some really good moments in this episode. So, I mean, it's, again, just that thing where everyone came to play this season. It's, you know, been really difficult. Raja talked about the fact that, you know, she's not really had much of a great relationship with her mum. It's been a bit turbulent since sort of like they came out as being like gay and stuff like that, which, you know, I know a lot of people have that sort of thing. And there was this really beautiful moment between Kylie and Raja, because Kylie was saying about how obviously she had a lot of issues when she was growing up, and then, you know, like coming out as trans and stuff like that. And she was saying, don't let that hurt child make your grown-up decisions. And there was just such a beautiful moment between Kylie and Raja when doing this. That was just, you know, it was just great. Really nice to hear, really nice to see. And, you know, it kind of hurt me that Kylie ended up in the bottom after this, but, you know, at the same time, I can kind of see it, but it's like that moment was just so good. But at the same time, I'm not really sure who else they would have put in the bottom otherwise. Kylie, again, you know, she had some really good moments talking about her life and obviously being trans and stuff like that. And she was saying about how, you know, it wasn't all sad. You know, she had some really nice moments where she was saying about how she can't obviously birth children herself, but she has like a really cute dog and that's her baby and stuff like that. You know, that was really sweet. But in the judging panel, they were saying about how she was supposed to be the moderator, but then, like, Scarlett did a lot of talking, and then Raja kind of chimed in, and then Raja did a lot of talking, and then she was just kind of there for some of it. And, I mean, I can get that, but at the same time, it just, I don't know, it felt very natural. It didn't feel like, okay, let's talk about this thing. No, stop. Now, let's talk about this thing. Which, you know, it was pink table talk, you know, having a discussion, a conversation, and they flow like that. So I think it was very difficult, and I think, unfortunately, as the moderator, Kylie had a very hard job to do, and I think that was kind of her downfall in that aspect. Let's go on to Ginger, seeing as I kind of skipped over her, and we'll go back to her now. So Ginger was the top all-star. Again, you know, she was on the team talking about body. She went into, obviously, some issues that she had with her body when she was younger that have, you know, become the reason as to why she sort of shaped the way she is and things like that. She made a joke about how people, like, slide into DMs every, like, couple of days just to remind her of her size and stuff like that. And I like that she can take it as a joke, but at the same time, you know, going back to the hate that a lot of the queens get, it's not something that she should have to deal with. You know, at the end of the day, she's a incredibly talented queen, and this should be the things we focus on. She's also a very nice person, which is another thing we should focus on. Her size is not something we should focus on, because who flipping cares? Really? Who cares? I don't care. I don't care if she's £2, £100. Well, I mean, I'm not good with, like, weights and how big someone is supposed to be, but, you know, I don't care if they're skinny, you know, fat or whatever. If you're a nice person, you're a nice person. What the flip does it matter? It doesn't at all. I love the fact that when it got to the point where they were talking to the queens, and she was like, you know, all these queens talking about the fact that they're in the bottom, and, you know, all I can think of is, I just won. And I'm sat there, I was like, great, I love that. It's so good. Obviously they were talking about why they weren't ready to leave yet. You know, we had the bottom three of Scarlett Envy, Jan and Kylie. It was difficult because I don't know, because obviously Jan just won a challenge, and now she's in the bottom. This is also, however, like her second time being in the bottom. This is Kylie's first time in the bottom, and obviously she hadn't been doing terribly. You know, she'd been safe the entire time, and, you know, even in this challenge, I don't think she really did a bad job. And then Scarlett, she's been safe the entire time up until now, and again, she didn't really do... I mean, no one really did a bad job. This is the issue, and this is why I find this season really hard to deal with, because no one's really doing that bad a job. So, what do you do? It was nice to see Akeria not in the bottom this week, because I really like Akeria, and she's just not been doing as well as she did on her season, which is sad to see, but unfortunately, you know, that is how it goes a lot of the time. Well, sometimes when you get to All-Stars, you know, you did really well in your season, you come back and, you know, for one reason or another, you just don't do very well. Either there's queens that just happen to be doing better than you, you're not in the right headspace, or the challenges just aren't your challenges. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you come to Drag Race. You know, I've always said if I ever get on Drag Race, you know, who knows, I could go home first, because, I mean, as much as UK, they tend to do the look challenge for the first week, you know, it could be a Joe Black situation. You know, I could think, oh, this concept's great, and then they just like, I don't get it. Because I've been trying to think of what I would do for, like, Queen of Your Hometown, Hastings. What do you do? Fishing? Is that just too generic, though? Smuggler's Rest? Or Smuggler's Cove, whatever it's called. Anyway. The lip sync assassin this week was Bianca Del Rio. My mum's going to be very happy that Bianca came back for this episode. Bianca Del Rio is my mum's favourite queen. I have no qualms with that, because Bianca Del Rio is amazing. And the fact that she made that outfit, like, for this. I mean, it's a gorgeous outfit, and it was sort of inspired by Sunset Boulevard. It looked gorgeous. I want it. Absolutely lovely. And she came out, and then she just sort of, like, read the queens about the fact that, obviously, if you win the first time, you don't have to come back. And essentially went, yeah, I'm not doing this, and walked off. So it was a fake out, essentially. And the real lip sync assassin this week was Mayhem Miller, who I was very happy to see back. I love Mayhem Miller. I think she's great. Also very attractive. Very attractive. And again, Mayhem's one of those people I just feel like is very underappreciated. Like, you know, she got a lot of hate for, well, got a lot of messages on when she first entered the workroom All Stars 5, because she wore a bodysuit that you can buy from Amazon. And it's kind of like, who cares? She's on Drag Race. It's like, I really don't. Also, it's a workroom entrance. Who the flip cares? Also, not everyone has, like, loads of money that they can just throw on outfits. I'm sorry. Just because they're on TV means nothing. But again, someone I feel is very underrated. Anyone who hasn't seen Cherry Pop, go and watch that, because Mayhem Miller is amazing in that. So all the other queens like Detox and Latrice who appear in that. And then everyone who's not affiliated with Drag Race who appears in that is also great. It's a very good film. Very funny. I enjoyed it. They lip sync to Phone, I believe it's called, by Lizzo. They both absolutely killed this song. It was the perfect song for both of them, I think. But I was in stitches the entire lip sync. I could not stop laughing. I really feel like they just embodied essentially what the song would be, which is literally like, "Where's my phone?" It was great. Ginger ends up winning the lip sync. I feel like that was the correct decision. I mean, to be fair, I could have easily seen a double win. They both did really well. But Ginger got 30,000. She said that she wanted to give, was it 2,500 of that to each of her teammates, which would be Pandora and Jan. I thought this was really sweet. Obviously not something she had to do. considering she was the top all-star of the week. She won the lip sync. That's on her. But I do think it's very sweet, and I'm sure those queens much appreciate, you know, $2,500. You know, money's money at the end of the day. It was great to see, but Mayhem obviously is done. She's done her duty, and that's that. And Ginger has to reveal who she chose to send home. Now, Ginger chose to send home to... Oh God, I can't speak today. Ginger chose to send home Scarlett Envy. Now, a lot of people said that Scarlett was robbed. It's difficult because she wasn't doing, like, she wasn't winning challenges, although I do feel like there were times she should have been at least in the top, like placing high. I would have liked to have seen her go further. But I could say that probably about every single one of these queens that's been on this season. And to be fair, most seasons I always want to see queens go further, just because I want to see what they can do. And how they do with the challenges, because, you know, they could fumble in one challenge, go home, and the next challenge could have been a challenge they would have absolutely killed. Unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I'm not sure if I would say she's robbed. I would say I would have loved to have seen her go further. But at the same time, I'm just not sure if it was Jan or Kylie's time to go. But then I don't really think it was Scarlett's time. I don't know. I think we should have just not send home anyone. Just keep them all in all season. And hope for the best and see who wins by the end of that. Who am I rooting for? I don't know. It was nice to see Ginger win this episode. Mainly because she's just kind of been there. And then, you know, she had that dip where she ended up in the bottom. And then she placed low, and now she's won, which is great, and it was nice to see her win and win the lip sync. I don't know. I think... Yeah, I'm not sure. I think if I had to pick maybe a top 3 right now, I would pick Raja, because Raja's been killing it. I also am really enjoying Raja this season, and I feel like she's been more herself this season, and it's great to see. It's just nice to see her. You know, even the moments where she's a bit sad, obviously, like in this episode, because she was being real, talking about a hard subject for her. It was just great to see her there. Ginger, because really enjoy Ginger, obviously. I'm always a massive Ginger fan. I love her to pieces. I think she's so talented. Would love to work with her one day. Wouldn't that be great? I'm going to do top 4, I think. So top 4, so that's top 2. 2 of the top 4. Trinity K Bonnet, I would love to see get top 4, because again, this season she's come in with a completely different mindset to how she was on her season. I think she's doing really well. I'm just really enjoying her this season. Top 4 material. Honestly, I'm going to say Kylie as my 4th, just because I feel like it's going to be one of those things where this episode was a turning point for Kylie. And I think maybe she's going to, I don't know, kick it up a notch. I mean, I know she was saying about how, like, in the workroom, they're saying about how she needs to sort of speak louder, and she's like, I will, but then I go country. And I'm like, hey, I'm all good for you going country. You going country is not a problem for me. So I can see her doing well if she picks up that energy and just runs with it. So, yeah. That's my top 4 for now. Obviously, it could change. And that was very hard for me to pick. But let me know down below give me your top 4. Because we usually end up like a top 4 at this point. So give me a top 4. Who is it that you want to see get to the top 4? While you're down there, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, share with your friends, and yeah, pop by a stream sometime and say hello. My Discord, not my Discord, my Twitch channel will be in the description below. But I will see you lovely people later, probably next week at this point, when I do my next video, and we'll see who goes home next and who's the lip sync assassin, because I love the lip sync assassin. It's great. It's literally like, every week it gets to Drag Race and I'm like, oh, who's the lip sync assassin gonna be? But until then, I'm your today boy, Indigo Diamond. I will see you lovely people next time. See ya! Oh, it's a bit mannish.